Celtics Talk podcast is presented by 24autogroup.com, 11 locations across New England.
What's up, everybody? Off-day edition of the Celtics Talk podcast coming to you as we get ready for Celtics versus Cavs. First time since 2018, back when Jason Tatum was a rookie. Think about everything that's happened since then, how many big games this Celtics team has been a part of. It's not quite the same. No more LeBron. In fact, I think the only player left on that Cavaliers team from that 2008 series is Tristan Thompson, who actually played a little bit in Boston and is back in Cleveland. So new look, but with Donovan Mitchell, Darius Garland, after they dispatched the Orlando Magic in 7 games, it is time to see what they can do against the Boston Celtics. And I'm just telling you, like, it's been way too long of a break for the Celtics. It's weird, right? Like we kept saying, like, Celtics got to get the series done quick, I wasn't ready for almost a full week off. I'm ready to see them back on the court. And it all tips off Tuesday night at the Garden with game 1 against the Cavaliers. Set the table for this series to get ready. I had to call up my buddy Eddie House and see how he's feeling about this second round matchup and the Celtics' potential to keep this momentum going. Let's get to our chat with Eddie House. All right, Eddie, I need a game. This break has been painful waiting for the Celtics to resume action.
Yeah, right. Just sitting back watching the Cavs and the Magic. My thing was the 2 stars for both teams showed up in that game yesterday. Just one was able to close the deal, being Donovan Mitchell. And that's the one thing about this series is that any given night, Donovan Mitchell could possibly be the best player on the court because we've seen him do this, not only with Cleveland, not only, in the regular season, but we've seen him do it in the playoffs with Utah. So that's the one concern to me is that on any given night, but I feel like if we are locked in the way we're supposed to be locked in defensively and in just moving that ball offensively, I think that we shouldn't have a problem. I still think that it could possibly go 6 because of what I just laid out, the factors of Donovan Mitchell, but then also, Darius Garland. The shifty guards, for some reason, give us problems on the perimeter all season long. Guys that are got the quick twitch, real change of pace. They kind of have given us some issues this year. So it's going to be an interesting series. I still think Celtics in 6.
Well, it's so funny you say that because I was going to ask you to kind of like let's go through and rank what the problem areas might be, but I think you nailed it. And the reason when people were asking me, okay, did you want to see the Magic? Do you want to see the Cavaliers? And it was no disrespect to the Magic. I think they're definitely on the come up. Boncaro was awesome throughout that series, and they're going to be a problem down the road. But it's what you said. Donovan Mitchell has the ability to almost single-handedly change a game, to win a game for this team. And I think there's going to be a night along the way that he's just outstanding. And I think that's going to stress your team. It's how much attention do you pay on him and how much do you give freedom to Garland? And so there's going to be a balance there. The interesting thing to me is looking at the numbers from the regular season. Celtics didn't have a defender, maybe besides Jason Tatum, that thrived when matched up with Donovan Mitchell. And even that was limited reps. But here's my thing, Eddie. This is going to be my big theme coming into it. Is this the sort of series where Jaylen Brown can say, I want that matchup? We know how friendly those two are. Jaylen was out here at practice today saying, playoffs, there's no friendship. And I think he's going to take it personally, that matchup. I think back to last year, James Harden and Jaylen taking on that challenge. Could this be a series where one of the Jays just says, I'm going to make sure that guy does not win them a game?
Well, I think that, of course, we're going to see that matchup at some point for sure. And maybe we will get that matchup 70% of the time, depending on what Jaylen wants to do. But we also need Jaylen to be scoring on the other end. We also need him to be fresh on that end and have the attack. Now, if he has the opportunity to attack Donovan Mitchell, if they're not cross-matched, because that could be a cross-match. Somebody else could be guarding Jaylen, and he's guarding. So now in transition, if you're not communicating properly, then guys end up getting open shots or wide rim runs to the rim and easy baskets. So my thing is, I think Derek White is going to have to get some of that. I think Drew Holiday obviously is going to have to get some of that. I'm just intrigued on Garland because Garland is so shifty. And for whatever reason, is that the shifty guards have given our guys a little issue because we are a little taller, a little stronger. Drew's a little older. and you know how young Garland is. So I think Peyton Pritchard is going to come up big having to guard Garland. I think that I think his minutes uh, it should be more geared towards stopping Garland being that defensive pest, getting hands on the basketball, getting deflections, pushing them out from their initiation points in offense. And when you usually are engaged like that, your offense will come. You'll start knocking down shots because you're so locked in. But I think that's probably the man that will be my main focus for Peyton. Is like, okay, Peyton, might not be a game where you're scoring a lot, but we do need these quality minutes against Garland. Just wear him out. Work him as much as possible. If when you do have the wall, we're gonna put him in a bunch of pick and rolls. Just make the right reads, make the right plays, because more than likely that's who Garland will be guarding. He's too small to try to guard Jalen. He's too small to guard Derek White. He'll get posted up if he tries to guard Drew. So I think that will be the matchup. And I think we do have to attack him defensively. Let's see where his defense is at. If we do, sometimes you don't have to always have a big to post up. You can run your offense through somebody else who does have a match. But I don't want to start matchup hunting. But at the same time, if we do have something we can take advantage of, I think you milk that until they make an adjustment, and then you make your adjustment.
So take me through the battle of the bigs, we'll call it. Obviously no Kristaps Porzingis at the start of this series. He was out here at practice today. Was in the weight room, all that, but not on the court yet. I think it's still going to take some time. They said this weekend they want to be cautious with him, bring him along slowly. How much faith do you have that Al Horford can take on, whether it's Evan Mobley, whether Jared Allen gets healthy in this series? They do have some size there. How do the Celtics match up defensively with holding up against those big men? And I guess just in general, because we know Mobley can be just such a defensive deterrent for them at the rim.
Well, I don't know the status totally on Jared Allen. I don't know what did they say on that?
So he missed game 7. Obviously, that rib injury. Like, you figure if he's not ready to go for game 7, that it's going to be tough to turn around on 2 days and be ready to go. The weird thing is that when they they take one of those big men off the court, usually gives them more space. It does feel like their offense flows a little bit better. I start thinking about how the Celtics might attack them if they go double big. And I think the Celtics can find advantageous matchups in that. But that being said, we know Jared Allen is talented. And so I think they got to be cautious. I do expect to see him in this series. It's just maybe you don't have to deal with him out the gate.
Yeah. Okay. So with that being said, I think that I think Al Horford will be up for the task. It's something that he's just going to have to be real physical. I'm not sure how physical Evan Mobley is, just his slight frame. I think you could be physical with him. I think your meat points got to be a lot higher. You don't allow him to get to his spot. So if they want to run a certain set through him or for him, make him push him, work him off his spot. I think Luke Cornett's going to have to do a fantastic job coming in as well. And I think this is also an opportunity for Xavier Tillman. We haven't seen much of him in the playoffs at all, but I think that sometimes you get traded for it. It's not necessarily for what we need right this second. It's for a particular game. It's for some particular minutes in the regular season, not for a particular stretch of games or a big, long stretch of minutes. Just come in there and do your job, be a superstar in that role. And I think that for the most part, I think Xavier Tillman could give him a different look. He'll still be physical. He could pull Evan Mobley away from the basket, same thing that Al can do. That's their primary rim protector. And to your point about it seems like it flows better because you have another ball handler out there. Karis LeVert usually getting those minutes right there with Jared Allen, and he's been known to be a Celtic killer. So we got to be alert and aware of him at all times. But really, I think everything goes through those two guards. As Evan Mobley goes, as those two guards go, Evan Mobley goes. He's not going to have a monster game without one of them having a monster game too. So we just got to keep it to one guy really, really getting off and everybody else getting twos and fews.
Look no further than the award-winning 24 Auto Group. With over 2,600 vehicles in stock, the brands you love, backed by the savings and service you can count on. Visit today or shop online at 24autogroup.com.
All right, let's talk about two other wild cards. The two guys that the I would say mainstays that we haven't talked about. Max Strus We don't have to rewind the tape very far based on what he did in Miami last year. We know he's still a little bit salty about the Celtics turning him loose, keeping Javonte Green back in 2019, I believe it was, or 2020. So, you always got to kind of be alert to him. And then Isaac Okoro, like his defense on the wing. I wonder like how they'll match up, whether he gets the Tatum assignment. What are you expecting from those two guys, and how will they impact this series?
Well, we know you just got to find Strus. He's a dude he's a catch and shoot guy. He's not really making too many plays off of the dribble. Usually anything he does is a cut. He catches, goes right to the basket, or it's a catch and shoot. So you just have to be alert and aware of that. Don't overhelp off of him and don't give him too many open looks. He's going to find some open looks out there. That's just the way the game of basketball is. But you don't want to give him too many open looks and a lot of confidence with that. And Okoro, I think you could kind of use his aggressiveness against him, if that makes sense. So
For sure.
I think just watch tape and see how he guards people. And once you start seeing exactly how he guards, if you watch enough tape, you can see where he's aggressive at and what positions. Because guys, everybody has tendencies, right? And so you might have a defensive, your tendency defensively is down low. You try to get real physical. Well, you could use that against him. You know what I mean? And out on the perimeter, guys can maybe get handsy. You could use that against him. So I think watching tape on him and seeing where you could pick your spots to be successful, where you don't have to fight him, but at the same time, you could just use your information that you gathered from watching film and kind of use that to your advantage.
So at the end of that game against the Magic, Game 7, the Cleveland fans did chant, "We want Boston." That did not work out well for Miami fans, who chanted the same thing. Donovan Mitchell seemed to, I don't know if you saw the post-game interview, he kind of was like, I don't know if we'd be, trying to calm the fans down a little bit. But like, what do you expect? Like, obviously the fans want that matchup. How much motivation can the Cavaliers get coming in knowing that they're sort of perceived as a little bit of an underdog?
Well, you got a chip on your shoulder coming in. It's a tough task and a steep hill to climb. But at the same time, if you got to this point, you believe in your team. You're not the number 3 seed. Or are they 3 or 4? They were 4, right? Or 3?
Yeah, 4.
They were 4. You're not the number 4 seed on accident. all season long they've been at the top of the Eastern Conference, and some injuries here and there kind of shuffled them back and forth. But they believe in their coach. They believe in their players. They believe in each other. But it still will be a tough task. I really firmly and truly believe that if the Celtics come out and play their brand of basketball together, locked in for 48 minutes or however long it's going to take, it's going to be pretty damn hard for the Cleveland Cavaliers to beat them 4 games for the Cleveland Cavaliers to get 4 games before the Celtics do.
Well, to that point, our friends over at Fanatic Sportsbook, the odds for this series, and it was a little jarring to me.
1,800?
Minus 1,500 right now, and it feels like that keeps going. I mean, so for the uninitiated, that means you would have to place a $1,500 bet to win 100, and like it feels like really long odds. What does that jump out to you, like that there's that much confidence in the Celtics, or that the Cavs still have to prove themselves?
I think it's the bet makers, whoever that is, those guys, obviously they watch a lot of basketball. They usually are pretty close. They're right there. If they do have some misses, but I think they realize that all season long, this team has been the best team. And I always go back to offensive ratings, right? Offense and defensive rating. And that rating, those numbers don't lie per 100 possession. So it's like the truest analytic that you can get, I believe. Yeah. And so we are one in offense and 3 in defense. So those things don't lie, that if this team is locked in and engaged, and, people might talk about, well, Porzingis is out. Well, we're 22-4 with Porzingis out. So we know how to play. We played 26 games without him. So it's not like, we have a small sample size. We have 26 games is basically almost a third
of the season. Yeah.
Yeah.
Almost a third of the season.
Close to a third of a season. And so with that, you have a really good sample size. You understand how to play without him. Of course, I feel like we're a better team with him, but I don't think that the drop-off is huge when we don't have him out there. We just miss a couple of pieces. And if you can collectively come together, have a few guys do what he can do, then, I think that you're able to sustain winning like they have so far.
Let me give you we'll crunch the numbers a little bit further from our friends at Fanatics. So season 4 plus 180. Season 5 plus 190, Celtics in 6 plus 450, and Celtics in 7 plus 600. So if you can tell, like, they think it's going to be a short series based on the odds. Which way you lean in? Do you think we saw last round was a gentleman's sweep? Miami was able to get one with a hot shooting night. I think we're both on the same page. I think Donovan Mitchell is going to have a night where you might just have to live with it. Like, man, this guy is on fire. This is what he does. Might be able to sneak them a win. You start thinking about it, especially when we go up to Cleveland at the end of the week. Where do you think this lands? Like, if you were if you had to pick on one of those projections,
I would go 6 games because, like I said, I will give. I mean, it's between 5 and 6 because I'm going to give Donovan Mitchell a game of being out there, being the competitor he is. But then also, I would say the only other time that they could get, I think they will be able to get another game if Mitchell was going and we couldn't do nothing with Karis LeVert and Evan Mobley's getting off and everybody. It just seemed like one of those nights where everything is clicking for everybody. And those things could happen in the game of basketball. Sometimes there's nothing you could do. You're there in rotation. They're hitting tough shots. You're not getting a great whistle from the referee. You know, you lose your identity within the game because you're frustrated with whatever's going on, whether it be them knocking down contested shots, whether you missing open shots, whether it be not getting the right whistle, whether you be in foul trouble. Like, so I'm putting the game away for just those type of shenanigans or actions. And I'm giving them one for Donovan Mitchell as well. But again, in 7 games, I don't think that Cleveland gets to 7, but gets to 4 before we get to 4.
Yeah, and like I don't want it to come off as overconfidence. I just think it's a reflection of how good the Celtics have been this season, and I'm further emboldened by the fact that they took care of the Heat in 5 games and showed like they've learned that they know they had to put a team away quickly, and the benefits will be there. That you got this whole week. I'll also say this, like, seeing Porzingis walking around and no, there's nothing on his ankle. He looks good. I do think they're going to try to get through this series without him. But the fact that he is optimistic about his ability to get back out there at some point in this playoff journey, and if they're lucky enough to be in the Eastern Conference Finals or further out when they might need him, especially against those teams, is really encouraging. Like, you're along those same lines, right? Like, they need Kristaps at some point if they're going to achieve their ultimate goals.
Yeah, I definitely believe that we're a much better team with him on the floor than without on the floor. But I still think with the sample size that we have, we showed that we could get it done. But when we get to the ultimate, to the conference finals, to the finals, I would expect that at some point, if he is healthy, ready to go, he should be out there. It just gives us we're a total different team. We play a different style of basketball when he's out there. He brings a bunch of different problems to other teams' defenses. And then on our defense, we're a different team defensively as well. The perimeter could gamble. Well, not gamble, but perimeter could be a lot more aggressive on the perimeter, knowing that you have a guy that can, erase your mistake.
All right, you're down there in New York. Let's end on this. I just want to do a quick spin around the rest of the playoff series. Knicks Pacers tips off tonight. How you feeling about that series? And like, what else has jumped out? I mean, obviously, I think we're all fascinated by the Denver-Minnesota series, and obviously Minnesota going out there. Simulation Station, man. I knocked it at the start of the year. They've been on point with what they thought. So, like, give me your spin around the rest of the NBA. How you feeling about the rest of these series?
I think the Knicks get it done in 6. But the more that I start breaking it down, it's not going to be an easy 6. I think the Knicks will still get it done. Jalen Brunson's usage rate is crazy right now, and he's the lone closer on that team. It's all going to be the tempo, how they dictate tempo, pushing it, playing slower. We know that Indiana is going to play as fast as they can, but they're not that great defensively, 24th in net rating on the defensive end, but second in offense. So when you look at those things, and they're coming at people are going to say that, oh, well, the Knicks are going to get physical with them. Well, they just came off of a physical series. They just played the Bucks. The Bucks is a physical basketball team. That's the only thing that the Bucks could actually had done is be physical in that series, and they were able to get through that. So I think it'll be a tough 6. It's going to be a matchup between the point guards, who's going to be able to dictate tempo with that. But then also I think the X factors and the biggest key matchup is going to be Siakam and OG Anunoby. And, Halliburton and Siakam, those are 2 closers. At any given night, those 2 guys could be the best player on the court, just like Jalen Brunson. So I think it's going to be a hard-fought 6 in that series.
And what else? Like, what are you thinking in that Denver, Minnesota? Did Minnesota, like, I know we've all been pretty bullish on what they've done, but to go out there and do it in game one against Jokic and the Nuggets, how you feeling about that series?
They don't care. Anthony, they're a reflection of their leader. Anthony Edwards said Karl Anthony Towns is a leader, but Anthony Edwards is by his actions. And so when I look at that, I look at the fact that they could, Jokic has 7 turnovers. Now, is that an anomaly, or is this something that he's being bothered by because it's 3 7-footers, 3 different styles of defense, and then he has to guard them on the other end, and those 3 guys have 3 different styles of play. So he's always adjusting, and for the most part, that's what you want to do to star players. You don't want to give them a steady diet of the same thing over and over and over again. Guys are too good; they figure it out. But the size, the length, the athleticism of Minnesota is bothering Denver. For the first time, Denver usually been the biggest team. Right now, Minnesota's the biggest team. They out-rebounded Denver. Denver only had 3 offensive rebounds, and that's so uncharacteristic about Denver. Usually, their pound offensive glass. Aaron Gordon usually gets 3 himself. Jokic usually gets 3 or 4 himself. But I think the size is bothering, and we'll see tonight. I think that goes 7 games. I think it goes 7 games.
From a Celtics perspective, I think their fans hope that every game goes 7. Every other series goes 7. Let them beat each other up. Celtics got to keep taking care of business. I lied. One last thing. You're feeling that Bruins sweatshirt after game 7.
Yeah, let's go. Let's go get it. We got to go get it, man. We got to get it. Big game tonight.
I need the same energy that was in the building for that game in game 7. And like, watching that celebration after Pasternak's goal was awesome. And I can't wait for the Garden to buzz with the same intensity. Eddie, I'll see you at the Garden on Tuesday night.
For sure. I was at that game, by the way.
Ooh, no wonder they won. You brought the intensity.
No doubt.
All right, Eddie's ready to go. I'm ready to go. Let's get these games started. We will be back with you. Remember, post-game pods after every single game. I believe Abby will be hanging out. The 2 of us are going on the road to Cleveland, but I think even on the home games, she'll be hanging out with us then. We'll catch you next time on the Celtics Talk Podcast.